What's up, everybody? It's your boy Tino here, guys, as we are here today to get you ready for which is the last week for most people of the last week of the regular season in fantasy football before we get to the playoffs. Four teams make the playoff, six teams make a playoff, eight teams make the playoff, just all depending on what type of a league you're in. So we're here today, guys, to talk about it all. Recap week 13. Get you ready for the last week of the regular season. Hopefully set that perfect lineup to get you into the playoffs. Talk about everything else that's been going down. It's injury galore and just everything NFL. So happy Tuesday, everybody. Hope you guys are all having a good Tuesday. But let's get to the chat before we do anything. And let's see who's in the house. Let's see what we got going on. We got Jadis in the house. Jadis was here at, what time were you here, Jadis? Jadis was here at 2 o'clock, so appreciate you, Jadis. So apparently the Trevor Lawrence injury, let's talk about that right away. It's a high ankle sprain, and it looks like he will miss time, but it wasn't, and it was supposed to be, it looked a lot worse than it actually could have been. We got the Golden Sponge in the house. He says here before Jadis, Tro? What's up, Golden Sponge? Why a weird time? What a weird time. For what? Football or the show starting? Yeah, I don't know why I had the show started for 5:10. I was a few minutes late today. My bad. Now there's Jadis. What's up, Jadis? We got a cool guy in the house. What's up? What's up, Daniel? How we doing? Sports highlights. What's up, bro? He said Golden Sponge. No, you weren't. Yeah, it looked like a leg, but guess not. I don't know. He said, no, you weren't. I'm dead. So, guys, we're here today, as I said, to preview and recap week 13 and then preview week 14. So, as I said, guys, it was injury galore. Injuries did not stop. We saw big names like Tank Dell, Derrick Henry, Brian Robinson, Derek Carr get hurt. We saw guys like Austin Eckler not have a good game. We saw quarterbacks like Justin Herbert only have 10 points. It was a weird week. Yes, it was. It was a wild week. It was an interesting week. But in reality, that's just another week in the NFL. So that's what we got going down here, guys. But now let's get into all of the information that we're going to be covering here, as I just went over a couple headlines. But now let's get to and let's talk about that Monday night game, as we were talking about Trevor Lawrence a couple seconds ago with Jadis. And as you guys know, last night we saw the Jacksonville Jaguars take on the Cincinnati Bengals, and it was a lot higher scoring than we thought it would be. And it was because of a man named Joe Browning. Joe Browning comes out, and he might be the new Joey B in Cincinnati with Joe Burrow out for the season. Browning goes out as 354 yards, one passing touchdown, one rushing touchdown, and then he goes out there and he just does his thing. Joe Mixon had 68 yards and two rushing touchdowns. Ja'Marr Chase had a 76-yard passing touchdown and one catch. He had 11 receptions for 149 yards. Ja'Marr Chase proved why he should have been in your lineups, and I pray to God that you guys didn't sit him. Trevor Lawrence, on the other hand, obviously left the game, but before he did leave the game, he had 258 yards, two touchdowns, and no interceptions. So if you started Trevor Lawrence, it wasn't so bad for you last week, like the week we're talking about now. But this upcoming week, it looks like C.J. Beathard's going to take the spot, and it looks like we will not be having T-Law play for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Travis Etienne went out and had 45 rushing yards, had a few catches and a few receptions and a few receiving yards, which is good, which added to his total. And then he obviously got that touchdown in the beginning of the game, which touchdowns always help. So if you were like me and you sat Travis Etienne, hopefully you got lucky where you had Deebo Samuel and you had a few other guys that went off, because we were going into the Monday night game. We didn't know if he was questionable. We didn't know what was going on. So it was one of those things. But hopefully you did start Travis Etienne. Thank goodness I won in the league I sat Etienne, though. Evan Ingram, guys, went out at 82 catches, 82 yards, 9 catches for one 22-yard passing touchdown that he caught. And it was a huge game for Evan Ingram. So if you started him with guys like TJ Hawkinson, Dalton and Kincaid on a bye, you're probably feeling really good. But that was the Monday night game. Jacksonville Jaguars lose 34-31, and Jacksonville falls. But the Cincinnati Bengals keep their season alive. So as we know, Joey B Joe Burrow's out for the year, but Joey B, Joe Browning, going out there and balling out, and it at least keeps Jamar Chase relevant. And to be honest, the Bengals offense didn't look too bad. So if you're in a super flex league and you're starting Joe Browning, hopefully you felt pretty good last night, because I know I saw him put up 40 points. So you're probably feeling really good about that. But that was the Monday Night Football game. I see we got some chats in the live chat right now. Make sure you guys, before we get into anything else, make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure that you guys go and you subscribe. You do all that good stuff. You become a member, as we will be having another members only live stream here in the month of November. In December, we are now in December. Can't even believe that, guys. What are we 13 days away from Christmas, or 20 days away from Christmas to be exact? So make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on that notification button. But let's now talk about the injuries, the things I learned, and then the disappointments. So the injuries, guys, were brutal this week. As I said in the headlines, we had Derrick Henry go down with a concussion. Before he left the game, he did have 91 yards receiving or rushing. He had 1 catch for 13 yards, and he had 2 touchdowns. But thank goodness for Derrick Henry owners like myself, he did not enter the concussion protocol, and he is on track to play on Monday night. We had Amari Cooper enter the concussion protocol, so that will be something to keep an eye on. We had Derek Carr enter the concussion protocol. That will be interesting to see. Kenny Pickett does not look like he's going to start this Thursday against the New England Patriots. So it's our good old buddy Mitchell Trubisky that will be at the starting helm for the Steelers as they take on the Patriots. Brian Robinson left the game with an injury. He had a hamstring injury. Antonio Gibson made us feel like it was 2017 again as Brian Robinson left the game. But hamstrings can be tricky, so we'll have to see. Now, the 2 big ones of the week, I feel like, is Ramondre Stevenson leaving with an ankle injury after only getting 40 rushing yards. Ramondre Stevenson went out, and he did not return. Also, Tank Dell is now out for the season after having a phenomenal rookie campaign. It was cut short by a fibula injury that was reported this past week, and sadly, Tank Dell is out for the season. So unless you are in a keeper league where you could keep more than 4 or 5 guys, I think you can safely drop Tank Dell, put him on your waiver wire so you can make sure that you pick up somebody that you may need. As I keep saying, guys, this is our last chance, our last opportunity, as it's the last week of the regular season. So you don't need guys, if it's not a keeper league or anything, you could drop them safely and you can make sure to pick up somebody else. So now that we went over the injuries, as I always like to say, guys, there's so many injuries going down. Stuff could happen today, tomorrow, practice. You don't know what's going to happen. So always just try to keep an eye on the injury report, and I update you as much as possible. Go check out all the other podcasters throughout the week too to make sure they keep you updated. So as I say, it is only Tuesday, so we'll just have to see. But the mostly confident one I'm in is the Kenny Pickett will not play in 2 days. So now let's get into the 3 things I learned, and then let's get our thing going. So we'll get into 3 things I learned, and then we'll talk about the disappointments, the guys that were straight up booty this week. But let's talk about the 3 things I learned. Eagles defense, I'm sorry, Jadis, but the Eagles defense just ain't it this year. Ain't it? I don't know what happened to the Eagles defense, but you're watching Brock Purdy go out and struggle against the Seahawks and then go out there and ball out against the Eagles. And you seeing quarterbacks just have themselves field days against them. I learned that you cannot really trust the Eagles in fantasy football right now. CJ Stroud, guys, is human. CJ Stroud went out there. He had a human-like game. He had a touchdown. He had 300 yards, but he didn't have very many rushing yards. He did have, I think it did get recovered, but he almost did fumble the ball. There were a lot of mistakes made. So I learned that CJ Human is human, and he might not be the most confident guy, especially going up against that Jets defense this week. Now, if you have a 2-quarterback league, you may have to start him. But if you have better options, I might consider sitting CJ Stroud against that good Jets defense that just continues to do things where the Falcons went out and they went out and scored 31 points, but it was on defense in fantasy football. Desmond Ridder didn't have a good game. Bijan Robinson had the best game. So honestly, if you're going to start anybody against the Jets, it might be Devin Singletary. Defenses can literally win you your week, guys. As I just talked about the Atlanta Falcons had 31 fantasy points. And because of the Atlanta Falcons, I lost this week. On the other hand, though, the Los Angeles Chargers put up 29 points. The Dolphins put up over 20 points. Defenses can really literally win you your week. And we'll talk about a few defenses in a little bit. But guys, always pay attention to your defenses because sometimes they really can turn the tide on a score in the league and in the week in your matchup for the week, I should say. So defenses, important. Defense wins championships, as they always say. So now let's start talking about, and let's get the negativity out of the way, and let's talk about these 7 guys that if you had these guys, they just put up straight disappointment numbers, and it was not a good time. And it just was not fun. Adam Thielen, guys, 5.5 points. Adam Thielen is so hard to put there and say that you can't start him because he is still a number 1 in Carolina. Him and Bryce Young do have a connection. So I think Adam Thielen, you have to continue to start him and just deal with it and hope for the best because the 1 week you sit him, he's going to go off. So Adam Thielen, I think, will be okay. But this week, it was just not very good. I mean, look at what he did against the Cowboys. It's there. We've seen it be done. Just go out there and do your thing. If the Carolina's offense wasn't so bad, it might be a little better, but they're just god-awful. DeAndre Swift at 4 points. Looked like Kenneth Gainwell got involved a lot. Obviously, the Eagles didn't look like the Eagles, and maybe they just had a different game plan as the 49ers just got out to a huge and bigger lead. So I'm sure Swift will be fine, but this week against the 49ers, not so much. 4 points, not so good. Jahmyr Gibbs, 6.4 points. Jahmyr Gibbs has not been the running back that we all hoped he would be with David Montgomery there. David Montgomery is getting a lot of the work, and Jahmyr Gibbs is just getting in and he's getting out of the end. He's just not being part of what we were hoping for him to be this year. Josh Downs, he's been a great wide receiver most of the year, but for some reason the last few weeks, Gardner Minshew has really fallen in love with Michael Pittman, and Josh Downs just seems to be on the back burner now. So 4.4 points ain't going to do it for me. Devin Singletary at 5 points. Devin Singletary, I mean, that would have been more points than Samaje Perine that I had to start in the league. So Devin Singletary, 5 points ain't going to do it. But, I mean, it's more than some running backs. So you really can't hate it. What you can hate is Drake London getting 1.8 points, 1 catch, 8 yards. Not a good time. And the guy that I took 2 overall, the guy that I thought would be really good this year, but he just has not been what we all thought it would be. It's Austin Eckler. He only had 4.7 points, and Austin Eckler did just not do, and he did not have a very good week. So Austin Eckler only put up 4.7 points, but Austin Eckler, you can't sit him. You drafted him high. Make sure you keep starting Austin Eckler. He will find him. Hopefully it's this week that he goes off, and hopefully he can lead some of you to a playoff berth. So let's get that negativity out of the way. Let's get done and let's stop talking about the disappointments. And now let's go over the perfect lineup for week number 13 as these guys just straight up balled out and they were the best performances at each position. So let's talk about it. I talked about that Atlanta's defense. I swear you could start whatever defense faces the Jets. So for example, the Houston Texans face the Jets this week. If you have a chance, go get the Houston Texans, guys. Speaking of the Houston Texans, they have Nico Collins with Tank Dell being out. Nico Collins becomes a number 1 wide receiver, number 1 all day, every day. So Nico Collins, guys, went out there, put up 34.1 points, and was your number 1 flex option of the week just because 2 wide receivers had themselves a better week somehow. But tight end, Sam Laporta went out at 29 points, did his thing, and made sure to kill it up against, and he did it as the Kitty Cats, the Lions. That's just funny now. I got to say the Kitty Cats. The Lions, the indoor cats, went out there and had themselves a game against the New Orleans Saints. Now Deebo Samuel, Brock Purdy is the number 1 quarterback, as you can see, at 37.5 points. But he had to throw it to somebody, and that guy was Deebo Samuel. As he had 35.8 points, and Deebo Samuel was one of your top wide receivers. DK Metcalf went out there, did his thing. He caught 3 touchdowns all the way back on Thursday night, had himself a game. Geno Smith went out there and balled out, 37.4 points. DK Metcalf had himself one hell of a day, and hopefully you kept with it, and hopefully you kept DK in your lineup. Joe Mixon at 29.7 points. Joe Mixon last night on Monday Night Football made sure Joe Browning looked very good, and he made sure that he had himself a good game. So if you had Joe Mixon, that 30 points may have won you your week, and that might have been the Monday night miracle that you may have needed. So that is the perfect lineup for week number 13 in the NFL fantasy football season. As if you had this lineup, guys, they would have scored 256 points in PPR leagues. So that is the perfect lineup for week number 13. But now it's time to close the page, and now it's time to see if we can get our lineup set, and we can make sure that we set that lineup to make sure that we make the playoffs in every single league. So let's get it. Let's get back up here. Okay, so GTA 6 trailer. We didn't talk about this because we were watching Raw. Leo was talking about girls. Lamar was talking about, Lamar things. And yeah, so GTA 7, GTA 6. It looks incredible. It looks amazing. But why in the heck is it coming out in 2025? You've made us wait this long, and now you got to make us wait a whole nother calendar year? You're telling me I'm going to be 29 years old when I'm playing this game? Come on now. Come on, man. Shaquille Leonard to the Eagles. Rate this as a grade. Probably a B. 22, 29, 2 TDs, and no interceptions. Had a good stat line. Yes, it was a good stat line. You lost versus Marlowe, but hey, we won't talk about it. What did I lose to Marlowe in WWE? Now we know Steelers going to win versus Patriots on Thursday, but going to be a slow-scoring game if Kenny's out. I mean, if they run the ball right, but, I kind of hope not. Let's get to 1.9 or 1.39, please. Everybody, if you have not yet, as we are 4 subscribers away to 1.39. So if you have not yet, guys, hit that subscribe button. Join the nation. Ask a question. Become a member. As I said, guys, we'll be having a members-only live stream, and it's going to be a little Christmas special. So make sure you guys come and hang out for all of that. Yes, Tank Dell was their best receiver. Yes, he was. But Nico Collins is good. Robbie Woods will be good. They got Noah Brown. They got Dalton Schultz, and they'll be okay. He said, yeah, they sucked. They really did. It's interesting, even though I didn't want the Eagles to lose. The NFC standings are interesting. It's going to be a wild 4 weeks. So that's all I got to say. Lions won the game, but that game looks like it was running away from them. The Lions, if you notice, they do that a lot. Watch them make a GTA 7. You already know they will. Yes, for real. A whole nother year. So you know what I'm going to do before that year comes? Now that I know it's going to be a year, I'm going to beat every single Grand Theft Auto game. My question is, though, are they going to, and I wish I knew if we could stream GTA, because I totally play GTA, but I feel like I get yelled at. But speaking of GTA, I don't know why it made me think of GTA, but the Back It Up podcast, the Back It Up Binge podcast is in the house. Can't speak. Oh, my goodness. What's up? Thanks for coming and hanging out. I appreciate you. Okay, bet. Watch them. You already know. I don't know. I've tried to look it up. If anybody knows, let me know. Are we not allowed to because of obviously what's in the game? Obviously, I couldn't have the volume on because, yeah. But I wonder. I don't know. Somebody look that up. Let me know. But, guys, now that we caught up to the chat, if anybody's got any fantasy football questions, drop them below. Let me know what you got. Let's get into it, and let's talk about it. So if you got any questions, let me know. But now, let's get into and let's recap the final season, or recap. Let's preview the final week of the 2023 fantasy football regular season. and let's get into it, guys, because for some reason, it's week 14, and there are still teams on a bye. I thought we were done with the bye weeks after last week, but apparently not, because we don't just have one team on a bye. We got two teams on a bye. We have the Washington Commanders and the Arizona Cardinals. And you may say, those teams aren't that good. Why does it matter? Well, it matters if you're a James Conner owner, Kyler Murray owner, if you're starting Trey McBride, if you're starting Marquise Brown, you're starting flipping Greg Dolch, if you randomly picked him up, if you're missing Brian Robinson, you're missing Antonio Gibson if you were going to go pick him up. Sam Howell's been a good option this year. Curtis Samuel, scary Terry McLaurin. Even though Terry McLaurin didn't have a great week, he's still been a very good player. So those 10 players are 10 players you are missing this week which is the last week of the fantasy football season. So let's get into it. Let's set everything, and let's talk about everything. And let's make sure that we get you those right guys so you can make sure you take home that W this week. So bold predictions, guys. I'm going to say that CJ Beathard throws 5 touchdowns this week against when the Jaguars go on the field this week as they are taking on the Cleveland Browns. Bold prediction. I hope not, though, because I have to start the Browns again. The Eagles, the Cowboys. Jadis, you said it last week on the Madden streamer. You may have even said it last night. The Eagles and the boys, the Cowboys. You're talking about the NFC standings being interesting? Let's make the Eagles and Cowboys a tie, and let's make it all types of interesting. And lastly, my last bold prediction, is that Tommy DeVito is going to come off of his bye. They're going to have themselves a good time in New York. And the Green Bay Packers playoff hopes are going to come crashing down as the New York Giants are going to defeat the Green Bay Packers, and we're going to see what happens. But for a bonus bold prediction, just because I'm feeling it, I'm going to say, and I am going to throw out there that we see Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen combined for 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions combined. So bet it up. Let me know what you guys think. So those are my bold predictions for the last week of the NFL fantasy football regular season. So now let's get into the guys that I need you to go and pick up. And if these guys are on your waiver wire, go and get them. I know some might not be, but hopefully they are. And hopefully some of the people in your fantasy leagues aren't paying attention. At number 5, Isaiah Likely, though he's facing the Rams this week. Maybe Isaiah Likely was left on the waiver wire with him being on a bye last week. So go get Isaiah Likely if you need a tight end. Jonathan Mingo, we were just talking about Adam Thielen, but Mingo got himself involved a lot more. And the Saints defense isn't as great as we really thought it was. So Carolina may be able to score some points. And you know those division matchups are always weird. But let's hope Adam Thielen gets a touchdown. Tyjae Spears, we talked about Derrick Henry. He did not clear, and he did not have to go in. He did not clear. He did not have to go into concussion protocol. So Tyjae Spears against the Dolphins. I don't know how it's going to go, but just keep an eye on Derrick Henry. And if you have Derrick Henry, and if Tyjae Spears is available, why not just go and get him? Because you never know. He's not available in any of my leagues, so hopefully he is in yours. Now, my last waiver wire pickup, we saw the injury of Ramondre Stevenson, guys. So it's time for Zeke to eat again. I'm telling you, if Ezekiel Elliott, if he is available on your waiver wire, go pick up Zeke. Put him in as your running back against the Steelers on Thursday. He should get a lot of work. Thursday night, Stevenson most likely not playing. So put him in and have yourself a good time. Zeke, Steelers should be in a good matchup. So those are my top 5 waiver wire pickups for week number 14 of the last week of the fantasy football regular season. So let's get into the starts, the sits, and the streams, and then we'll get into all of our pick'ems for this week, last week, and then the week coming up. And we'll take a look at the playoff picture that is and see where things sit. I should say that I'll tell you where things sit, I should say. So let's now get into the starts, the sits, and the streams. Starting with the starts, guys. Let's keep Jake Browning in our lineup. I cannot believe I'm saying it. But the Cincinnati Bengals offense looked pretty good. And maybe the Indianapolis Colts will look at that. Maybe they'll see some things. But I still think Jake Browning isn't as bad as we all thought. Or Joe Browning, Jake Browning, however you want to say his name. I'm sure I've said his name wrong about 1,000,000 times in the last couple days. So let's see. It is Jake Browning. Okay, I said Joe Browning. So it is Jake Browning. My bad. So scratch what I said about that. Hopefully somebody caught that and makes fun of me eventually. But it is Jake Browning, not Joe Browning. So Jake Browning taking on the Colts, I think is a decent matchup this week. Austin Ekeler, he's facing the worst run defense in the league. He should bounce back from his awful week last week. So let's hope Austin Ekeler could lead you to a playoff berth. Cordell Sutton has been that guy in the Denver Broncos that we didn't know if we could trust, but he's become that number one wide receiver for Russell Wilson as they're taking on the division rival, the Los Angeles Chargers, as the Los Angeles Chargers are coming off of a really messy game. They're going to want to bounce back. It's a divisional matchup. It should be a good game where maybe a lot of points are scored. Dalton Kincaid coming off of a bye, taking on the Chiefs, another high-scoring AFC game that I think is a very good option. If you need a tight end, if you have him, put him in your lineup. The tight end or the defense I'm going to tell you to stream this week, it is the Houston Texans, as the Houston Texans are taking on Tim Boyle and the New York Jets. The New York Jets are a disaster, and at this point, I guess you just start whatever defense is facing the Jets because the Jets are just that bad at offense. So those are my starts, I should say, for the week. So if you have an opportunity to get those guys, or you have those guys, put them in your lineup and feel confident going into the last week of the regular season. Now let's get to the sits, and then let's get to the streams. So the sits of the week, Matthew Stafford taking on the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens defense is good. They're going to come out fighting. They're going to come out wanting to ball out. And I just think that Stafford, he might not have himself a very good game. D'Onta Foreman taking on the Detroit Lions, the Kitty Cats. The Detroit Lions, we'll have to see what happens. The Bears played pretty good, but with Khalil Herbert back, it should be interesting to see how they use them. And D'Onta Foreman's kind of a little banged up, so just keep an eye out on that. The wide receiver I'm going to tell you to sit this week, it's going to be the whole entire Steelers offense. You sit Pickens, you sit Deontay Johnson, you sit Freiermuth, you sit all of them because the Steelers, I don't know what their problem is, but they're just not a very good football team. And the only guys that you can really rely on that team right now is Najee Harris, and Jaylen Warren. I can't get Najee out. What's going on with me? So you can sit the wide receivers for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I always tell you not to sit a tight end. So we're going to stick with that plan because if you have a tight end, we're just hoping for the best. I mean, for God's sakes, if you started Tyler Kraft last week, he got a touchdown. So just start all your tight ends where you have to. The Eagles defense, though, taking on the Dallas Cowboys. As I talked about in the things I learned, they are just not the defense that we thought they were going to be, and they just have not been very good. So taking on the Eagles and the Cowboys, if you're going to take a defense in that game, it might be the Dallas Cowboys. So we'll have to see. But honestly, I wouldn't start either or if you have better options. So we'll have to wait and see. Breakouts and streamers of week number 14. If you have the guys that I just told you to sit, I feel better about starting these guys that I'm going to tell you to start or stream for week number 14. At quarterback, it's Minshew Mania, everybody, in Cincinnati. Yes, Trevor Lawrence was on his pace for a very good game. And yes, CJ Beathard didn't look that good. But Minshew Mania went out, had himself a great game last week. Of course he did. But I think he could have a good week too this week as he takes on the Cincinnati Bengals. So if you need a quarterback, feel good about possibly starting him this week. Ezekiel Elliott, as I said, with Ramondre Stevenson out, Zeke becomes a running back 1 or 2, possibly flex option. So get Zeke in your lineup and let Zeke feast on Thursday night. It might not be the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, but it will be week 14 of the last week of the season, and let's hope he gets those fantasy points. Now, Elijah Moore, I just told you to go pick him up in the waiver wire. You go pick him up, and you stream him this week against the Jaguars. They need somebody to throw to. Joe Flacco didn't look completely bad, but that Browns offense just was a complete disaster. So that's the wide receiver I'm telling you to start, but just always keep an eye out with Joe Flacco. Tyler Conklin, I guess Tim Boyle needs somebody to throw to, and it will be Tyler Conklin. Tyler Conklin, he didn't have himself a great game last week, but going up against the Texans, they may have to throw the ball a lot. So Tyler Conklin could be, and it could be just literally the fact of him getting the volume that he gets, and he has a good week next week. And the streaming defense of the week, we pick on the Jets, but we also pick on the Carolina Panthers. Carolina Panthers are a disaster. We don't know what happened to them. Chuba Hubbard's having himself a decent year this year. Adam Thielen was on pace for a career year, and then he's fallen back to earth. So the Saints, if you need a defense and they're out there, maybe a decent option this week taking on the Panthers. So those are my starts, my sits, and my streams for week number 13, number 14, I should say, of the fantasy football season. So now that we did all of that, let's get into and let's start talking about the real NFL, and let's go over the games from last week. Let's go over the games from this week, and then we're going to talk a little bit about what the playoff picture as of right now takes a look at. So we're going to take a look at this, and we're going to go over these games real quick. So let me get the scores up so I know what the right scores were, so then we know how that we got this. So let's go through it. We got where's it at? Thursday night, we got the Cowboys and the Seahawks. The Cowboys won, so we got 1-0. We got the Titans the Colts and the Titans. I took the Colts, 2-0. Chargers and Patriots, Chargers. Lions and Saints, we took the Lions. Falcons and Jets, we took the Falcons. Cardinals and Steelers, I forgot who I took, but I low-key think I took the Steelers. So we'll say 4-1. Yeah, 4 and 4. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, 5-1. Okay, 5-1. We got the Browns and the Texans, or the Texans and the Broncos, not the Browns. They're the Texans won, so we are 6-1. Carolina and the Buccaneers. How did I watch all these games and I forget who wins? That's okay though. Buccaneers won, so we are 7-1. 7-1. The Browns and the Rams. We thought the Browns were gonna win, so we are now 7-2. Now we're 7-2. 49ers and Eagles. I took the Eagles. I think I took the 49ers actually. 8-2. We took the Chiefs, so that's 9-3. And then Monday night, last night, we obviously saw the Jaguars and the Bengals, and I took the Jaguars. So we finished the week about like 10-4 and everything else like that. So now let's get into the games this week, and then let's go over and let's talk about the playoff picture. So let's get to these games, and these are my picks for week number 14 of the NFL football season. The Patriots and the Steelers. Let's go Patriots on Thursday night. Remember, guys, we will be here Thursday night for that game. So make sure you come and hang out before Oh, I got to take a drink of water. Obviously, it's like I'm going to choke myself. Uh-oh. We don't want that to happen now, guys. So let's talk about the rest of these. We got the Buccaneers taking on the Falcons. Let's take the Buccaneers to win. We got the Lions and the Bears. Let's take the Lions to win. The Colts and Bengals. I'll say the Colts win. Jaguars and Browns. Depending on what happens, I'll say Jaguars win. Carolina and New Orleans. Let's go New Orleans. Texans and Jets. Let's go Texans. The Rams and the Ravens. Let's go Ravens. We got the Vikings and the Raiders. Let's go Raiders. We got the Seahawks and the 49ers. Let's go 49ers. We got the Bills and the Chiefs, a very good game that looks like that might be the game we will be watching this week, guys. Go and vote. Continue to vote as we will announce that game on Thursday, what game we'll be watching. But I'm going to take, and I am going to say the Chiefs win by 3 points. We got the Chargers and the Broncos in a divisional matchup. Let's take the Chargers. On Sunday night, we got Jadis's Eagles taking on the Dallas Cowboys. Since it's in Dallas, let's take the Cowboys to win by 3. And then, guys, next Monday night, yes, you see that there is 2 Monday night football games, guys, that will decide the fate of many people's leagues, as it is the Miami Dolphins taking on the Tennessee Titans on ESPN. And then over on ABC in New York in the MetLife Stadium, it is Tommy DeVito and the New York Giants taking on Jordan Love, as Lord Jordan Love brought that love to Green Bay on Sunday night against the Chiefs. He's bringing it back to MetLife Stadium. He's trying to lead the Packers to a second W. So it's the Packers, it's the Giants, it's the Titans, it's the Dolphins on Monday night. And in those 2 games, I'm going to take the Dolphins and I'm going to take the Green Bay Fudge Packers to win. So let's still go with that. And those are my picks for week number 14 of this NFL football season. So now let's get into and let's take a look at the playoff picture for week number and what the playoffs would look like as if the season ended today. So while I get that picture up, I'm going to go back to the chat and I'm going to see what everybody is saying, what everybody's feeling. How's everybody doing? Hey, Tina. Gonna play this week, or do I ask? Can I ask you to? Let's see. College football, the graphic. Okay, the graphics look so real. Okay, so I just want to make sure I found the right comment. Let's get that playoff picture. Do we got breaking news that I didn't see? Did we got breaking news as I'm saving this picture? I don't want that. I just want the picture. So let's go through the chat. Chris says college football video game comes out next year also. Yes, that's going to be fun. I'm very excited for that. Let's see. Oh, no, the 49ers are signing Logan Ryan. So the 49ers just continue to get better. But let's continue to go. What are going with the Chiefs? Huh? I don't understand what you mean by that. Dallas Goedert, I feel like he has a 60% chance. I feel like Dallas Goedert is very, very close to being to come back and play this season. So we will have to see with that. But let's get into it. Before we do that, guys, let's get in and let's talk, and let me get that up for you. Let's get the picture, and then let's get it. Yeah, the picture, everybody. The picture. We got the playoff picture as of this moment, everybody. If the playoffs ended today, this is what the playoffs were to and what it would look like. So we got the Dolphins at number 1 seed. We got the Philadelphia Eagles at the number 1 seed in the AFC and the NFC. And then if the playoffs were to start today, and if the playoff matches were to be going, and if where they were going to be going, it would be the Browns and the Ravens. It would be the Colts and the Chiefs. It would be the Steelers and the Jaguars. But still in the hunt at number 8, 9, and 10, it is the Houston Texans, the Denver Broncos, the Buffalo Bills, and if I move my ticker, it is also the Cincinnati Bengals. And then over on the NFC, as I said, the Eagles are the number 1 seed. The 49ers are the number 2 seed, so they will take on the Green Bay Packers. And then they will take on the 49ers would take on the Green Bay Packers. So we will be seeing, and that would be the matchup. We also have an NFC North matchup, where it would be the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Detroit Lions. And then we have the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Atlanta Falcons. But it's still in the hunt. We got the Los Angeles Rams at number 8. We got the Seattle Seahawks at number 9. The Buccaneers at number 10. The Saints at number 11. And if you look closely, really closely, guys, you could see the Chicago Bears down there at number 12. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, so that is the playoff picture. And if the playoffs were to start this Saturday, we would be watching all of these games besides, obviously, the Dolphins and the Eagles do not play because they do, and they play next week. You know, they would play the following week in the divisional round. So, everybody, that is the playoff picture for week number 14. And as we go into week number 14, I should say, of the NFL football season. So, guys, before we go here, let's get the banner back up for what we got going down. And the last thing we're going to be talking about here is my 3 guarantees of week number 14 and everything else like that. So, let's get into it and let's talk about it. My guarantees, guys, I guarantee you guys that we will see Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes will be fine. He had himself a bad week. He didn't have a great day. Packers made him look a little lost. But Patrick Mahomes will be fine. Don't be dumb and don't start him this week. Start Patrick Mahomes and you'll be fine. I guarantee you also Thursday night, Jay just mentioned it. This game might not be very good, but I will also say that I think that on the other side of the ball, besides how bad the New England Patriots have been, I think that Mitchell Trubisky is going to struggle. That's why I'm telling you, I don't think you start the Steelers wide receivers. You start the running backs, if anything. But I'm not trusting the Pittsburgh Steelers this week, guys. Jake Browning, not Joe Browning. Jake Browning, going to go out there. He's going to do it twice, guys. I'm telling you. Jake Browning is going to be, and he's going to be the savior of Cincinnati. And he's going to try to get the Bengals back into the playoffs. As we know, Joe Burrow is out for the season. So I guarantee you this week that Jake Browning will ball out. I don't know if he's going to have 300 yards and 2 touchdowns again, but what I will say is that he will have himself a decent game. So, guys, let's get into it and let's see what we got. Oh, we got thoughts on an Eckler and Pickens for Bijan and Rashid Rice. So, what are you getting? If you are getting Bijan and Rashid Rice, I may think about doing that because George Pickens is just obviously he's irrelevant. And every time we start this guy, he just does not do anything. So if you're getting Bijan and Rashid Rice, I would consider doing that. Broncos better bounce back? Probably not. Hey, we got Matthew in the house. What's up? He says, what's up, Tito? What's up? How you doing, bro? So, guys, that is everything that I have here for you, though, for week number 14 of the NFL football season, fantasy football season, that is. I appreciate all of you guys coming here and hanging out with me. Remember, as I always say, if you have any other questions, make sure to leave them in the comments. I'll answer them. You got any questions, hit me up on Twitter. Always here for your guys' advice. Always go check out everybody else that does great YouTube football content out there. So, thank you guys all for coming here and hanging out with your boy Tino. But before we go, guys, we got to do a little few things. We got to name the MVP. We got to name, and we got to let you know what we got going down tomorrow. But first, guys, it's time to have a little bit of a retirement ceremony for Tino's White Sox hat. You guys make fun of this White Sox hat all the time. It's dirty. It's yada, yada, yada. It's this and that. You know, I've had this White Sox hat for a long time. White Sox has been through a lot. So it's time to retire it because we got ourselves a new hat. And I don't care what anybody says because it's the exact same hat. It's the White Sox hat. It's just cleaner. It's newer. And it's different. So we're going to retire this one. And we're going to bring in the new one. So White Sox hat no more. Well, we got a new one. It's cleaner. You could see the white. You could actually see the White Sox logo a little better. He said, boo. So I could not find. I went to the hat store today. There were no good hats. This literally was the best hat. I still haven't even took the tag off of it yet. So we got a new hat, guys. So that was exciting. I just wanted to do that. Entertain myself for a minute. So Tino's hat is retired, and we got a new one. So now let's name the MVP of today's live stream. And the MVP has to be the man, the myth, the legend, the one and the only Mr. Jadis Young. I was trying to make it a little more suspenseful, but it didn't work. So Jadis, you could say boo all you want, but you are today's MVP. He said, yeah. Anyway, so Chris, thank you for coming and hanging out. Thank you to everybody that did come and hang out. So thank you guys all so much. But before we go, also, make sure, guys, that you go and check out the Survivor Series vlog as it's live on the channel. Go check out the full experience of Tino at Survivor Series War Games, SmackDown, the Superstore, CM Punk reaction, R-Truth, Randy Orton, Chumblebee's videos. It's a good video. Go check it out. But also, guys, make sure that you turn that notification button on so you know when we go live tomorrow for a double header, as it's gaming day here on Tino's Time. But first, in the afternoon, Wednesday, tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock, guys, come and hang out as we do My GM Mode Season 2 as it's WCW taking on NXT, as it's the Extreme Rules pay-per-view where all the matches are extreme. We're going to book the pay-per-view. We're going to watch the matches, and we're going to see if we can continue our run as the best GM in the WWE. And then tomorrow night, guys, for a special 2K23 episode, as we will be coming back here for a challenge. And this challenge I came up with because I was thinking about it, and I thought it'd be interesting. There are many belts in WWE. There are many old belts in WWE. There's been created belts created by people. So it's time, guys, that we are going to go through and we are going to vacate every single championship. I don't care if you're Roman Reigns. I don't care if you're John Cena. I don't care if you're Randy Orton. I don't care if you're Jey Uso. I don't care if you're Sami Zayn. I don't care if you're Charlotte Flair. I don't care who you are. All the titles are going to be vacated, and that's because tomorrow night on WWE 2K23, guys, it is WWE 2K23, but every single title in the game is on the line. The Rated R Superstar, the NXT title, the US title, the WWE title, the Undisputed WWE title, the Women Tag titles, the North American title, Mommy's title, every title in the game, guys, big gold. Every title in the game is going to be on the line. So come and hang out as we put every title on the line and we see who wins and what the shape of WWE 2K23 looks like after this video. So that's what we got going down tomorrow at 1 o'clock and at 6 o'clock. So, or 6:30, I should say. So make sure that you guys hit that notification button and you come and hang out tomorrow. So that's what I got going down. Boo! Tino, what's up, Eric? He said, boo. Listen, I love you, Chris. Just come back tomorrow. I'm sure you could win it in one of the streams. I got you. So, guys, go and check out all that good stuff. But if you can't, I don't know why you can't, but you better. Because I know you guys love me. But if you're busy, I get it. So, anyway, make sure that you also go and do these things, though, guys. Make sure you go follow all the social medias on the ticker below. You become a member of the channel. You leave a super chat or two. You go get yourself some merchandise on bonfire.com/Tino's Time. Make sure that you also, guys, go follow the Southside Boys 23 on Twitter, as we'll be doing a Southside Boys episode with Deech and hopefully Justin and another member of the White Sox community. So make sure you set that notification. You turn that subscribe button on. Hit that subscribe button and you turn the notification button on so you know when that episode comes out. Well, make sure you do that, and make sure you know when you go and hit that like button on all the social medias. So also, guys, hit that like button on this episode. Subscribe on the road to 1,400, as we are only 4 subscribers away to 1,300. Let's get 14 more. And by Saturday, not by Thursday. Well, by Thursday would be great, but by Saturday, let's get 1,400. Let's escape that goal, and let's get on, and let's hit the races to to 1,500 by the end of the year. So, guys, turn that notification button on, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and do all that good stuff, guys. But I hope all of you guys enjoy your Tuesday night. Enjoy NXT. Enjoy everything that's going to be on. Until tomorrow, I hope you guys all, as I said, have a great Wednesday night or Tuesday night. Have a great Wednesday morning. And I will see you all back here for a doubleheader on Tino's Time tomorrow as we play WWE 2K23, my GM, and every title is on the line. Guys, have a great day. And this is your boy Tino signing out.